GPR, GPR, GPR. That's the topic of today as we talk to a D4 student who just matched at her top choice for a GPR program. And she's going to tell us all about what she did, how she did it, but most importantly, why she's doing a GPR and a residency after dental school. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Dr. Darwin, a new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin on the New Dentist Podcast Show. We talk about getting into dental school, surviving dental school, getting into residency, and then life as a new dentist. Guys, be sure that you are continuing to spread the love, share the love by liking, sharing this video and these episodes, but also commenting down below. That's key and important. We want to make sure we hear your feedback so that we can continue to deliver this content, not only straight to you, but also all throughout the country and throughout the planet as well. Also, this episode of Ask Dr. Darwin is being brought to you by GetIntoDentalResidency.com. GetIntoDentalResidency.com. You see it right down below, which is the ultimate service to help you get into residency. Not now, but right now, into your site, into the cycle. Pediatric dentistry, GPR, AGD, ortho, endo, perio. Services are here and tailored to help you get prepared for your interviews, but also get your application together and then things to help you as you navigate this process of a postgraduate advanced dental training. For more details, go down below. Check out right here on the website, GetIntoDentalResidency.com. All right. Today it's a reunion. It's a reunion. 3 years ago, student Dr. Emerald was entering her first year at dental school, and guess what? 3 years later, she's getting ready to graduate and also do residency. So today, we're joined with student Dr. Emerald Ferguson. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Not as good as you. I know you're ready to get this countdown together with school and getting all your requirements done. How many days is it for graduation?
I think it's like 70 days, but really maybe like 30 more clinic days. So time is winding down fast.
That's right. That's right. Well, real fast, please share a little bit more about yourself, who you are, where you're from. So for those that are watching and meeting you for the first time.
Okay, well, hi, everyone. My name is Emerald Ferguson. I'm originally from Nassau, Bahamas. Right now, I'm at Meharry Medical College School of Dentistry in Nashville, Tennessee. And next year, I'll be going to OU College of Dentistry for GPR.
OU, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma, that state north of Texas.
Right.
where all the tornadoes and storms usually either originate or pass through and disseminate as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So great. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about life, what your life is going to be after dental school, because it's coming in 70 days, right?
Yes,
First question, why residency? Why did you decide to do a residency?
So for me, my overall goal is to go into pediatric dentistry. And I feel as though dental school gives you all the tools that you need, but sometimes you don't get all the experiences that you need or would like to see in dental school. So I sat down, had an honest conversation with myself, and was just like, I want more experiences. I want to see things that I wouldn't have been able to see in dental school that will prepare me for any and everything once I get out on my own. So going to GPR, any type of residency program after dental school was a really big, important factor for me to kind of continue on with my career and also the path I eventually want to go on to, which is pediatric dentistry.
Smart choice. And great strategy, because there are a lot of programs that actually prefer or strongly recommend that candidates have that extra experience that you mentioned, right? So very key. And it makes sense as you are continuing, and the fact that you're doing at a hospital-based general dentistry program,
Right.
it's helpful because depending on how the program is structured, you may have a
Mhm.
pedo rotation, you may have rotations where you're actually going to the OR,
Mhm.
doing more cases with children, right? All the
Right.
things that are going to help you for that next step that you've already determined, which will
Right.
be applying a pedo. So let's talk about this particular application because your pedo application is coming probably in about
Mhm.
a year or two.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this application. Tell
Okay.
us a little bit about how you prepared for getting this application ready for a GPR program.
So for me, what I did, which was really important, was letter recommendations. I think it's really important to do that as early as possible, kind of have an idea of who you want to ask, and also let them know because I feel like everybody's busy. So it's really nice for your recommenders or who are writing these letters to know ahead of time. I think another thing would be is to just put yourself out there to network. Possibly, I know before going into dental school, shadowing is really important, but that's something that needs to continue within school as well. So just doing shadowing opportunities, externships. And then I think the most important thing is to really research the programs that you're applying to, because there are so many out there, but there are some that are geared to more of what you want to do in the future or what you want to be better at as you exit out of dental school. So those were some of the important factors of kind of getting ready and understanding also the application process. I think is a whole other ballgame in itself, is just understanding every aspect that goes into it, the deadlines, all of those kind of were what I focused on prior to applying to this cycle.
Yeah, that's key. That's
Mhm.
key. You said something that was very important, the shadowing. The
Mhm.
shadowing and getting to know faculty, especially if you know that you are planning a future application in a specialty program, getting in front of faculty that are specialists. Now, I know at Meharry, there's a GPR program, there's an oral
We do.
surgery program,
Mhm.
but that's it, right?
Mhm.
There is
That's
a
it.
for right now. There is a
Mhm.
pedo program coming.
There is. There is.
So just to add on to, what did you do shadowing wise, um,
Mhm.
to and how did that help this application for you?
I think for me personally, I went out and looked at the dentists that are kind of just surrounding our school. I took the opportunity to shadow someone that way. And then also, which is crazy, I think through Facebook, I met my mentor and she's located in Texas. She's a pediatric dentist out in Texas. So I was able to get the opportunity to go and shadow at her office for an entire week where we saw sedation cases, we saw, comp exams, things like that, and just kind of to get the full on aspect of what it's like outside of just dental school, the patient load, what you're going to experience, what you're going to see on a daily basis. So those were my two type of shadowing opportunities I did, especially during my third year, right before this application cycle.
Yeah, that shadowing is key for you all to watching and listen. That shadowing is key, especially in preparation for a current advanced general dentistry program, but also later on down the line. I think I may know who that person was. You said in Texas. Was it Houston, Texas?
No, she
Oh,
is in a smaller part of Texas.
okay.
I can't remember from the top of my head because it's really, really tall, like small city.
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
really like drives like an hour away to her practice because it's in a very rural area.
Rural
But some
area.
of the pieces we saw there were, I mean, it was extensive work that was being done. And I think the most like, important or really cool experience I got is she brought in a dental anesthesiologist. So we got
Mm.
to see sedation cases actually happening in her office. And she
Yep.
does this like once a week. So
Yep.
that was a really cool experience for me. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
also what made me want to do a hospital program as well, because I wanted those experiences.
Yeah. In the hospital program, it's a mandatory per the curriculum that you have
Mhm.
uh what is it, 2 weeks? 1, 2, 3. I think it's 3 weeks now. 3 weeks
Mhm.
of anesthesia
Yep.
rotation. So you'll see
Yeah.
that. all of which are great, again, great items for you for your next set of applications for pedo. Very
Absolutely.
key, very key. And you'll be able to also utilize your experience for your GPR program to share that in your personal statement for pedo too. So smart move, smart move. Since we're talking about GPR programs, as it relates to future plans, let's go back and talk about the programs that you did your research on, right? You said you mentioned research in the programs. Let's talk about the schools that you applied to, the number, and why those particular programs.
So in terms of the numbers, I applied to a few different schools, but there were only a few where what really stuck out to me, and it was more of what are their patient populations like. And for specifically for OU, their patient population is 60% children and then 40% adults. So I knew that that's specifically why I wanted to, I was really interested in their program. I also applied to other programs as well, but they were based off of location. So it was more of where do I see myself in 5 years? Where do I see myself in 10 years? So that was the basis of how and where I applied. Also financially as well. I think coming out of school, it's important to understand what is the cost of living at different locations. That was a factor. And in terms of the number of schools I applied to, I believe it was like 10 or 11. But definitely OU was my top choice in terms of GPR programs.
Nice. Okay. That makes sense. Location, cost of living, where I think, where you're thinking about being in the future, and most importantly, preparation for the next step, which is patient populations, right?
Yeah. Yes.
What patient populations am I going to get exposure to so that I can get ready for my next step? So strategically, a great move. Definitely a great move. So,
Also,
go ahead.
Also, I feel like what was really important to me as well was the size of how many other co-residents I got. So OU is a really small program. So there's 3 of us in total. So I felt like I was leaning more to programs that had smaller sizes. And my goal was either 6 or less. So I think that was a really big factor as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, another factor after you get your application, you got your list of schools and programs is the you got to get ready for the interviews, right? So you said you applied to about 10 to 11 programs. How many interviews did you get? And what were some unique questions that are above and beyond the normal ones that you got that you remembered? And just share a little bit about that.
I interviewed at 2, and honestly, I know some people get some really like outlandish questions. I didn't really get that many. I think one that I kind of stumbled on a little bit was I was asked, like, what is my philosophy in life? Which was a great question, but it kind of took me back and I had to think about that. Other questions were pretty straightforward. Why this program? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? What do you think you can bring to this program? Most of them were very straightforward and very conversational. They weren't awkward in any way, because one of them was, I think the thing that is kind of different is when now we have a lot of in-person interviews, but also some are still on Zoom. So that kind of factors into how your interview experience was as well. I personally prefer in-person interviews. I just feel like it's easier, to read the room, but also just to get a feel of what that program is actually like compared to in-person, where you're just like staring at a screen and talking to 1 or 2 other individuals. Yeah. So no crazy interview questions. They were very conversational and personal as well.
What is your philosophy in life? Come on, I'm 25. What you mean? Life? I'm still living life. What you talking about?
I'm still thinking about that one. Still thinking about it.
Still thinking about it. Yeah. Can I get back to you after the residency? I'll have another year of life experience so that I can, share with you another bullet point. Interesting. Interesting.
Mhm.
So after that is you got to put your programs in order. You got to start
Mhm.
ranking them, and there's usually a reason behind that, right? Some of them is just based on your top program, your favorite program, your dream program. So those usually will influence the ranking, but also it also depends on the number of interviews you got too, right?
Yeah.
So with two, you say you got two interviews, you had
Yeah,
two
two.
interviews. So
Mhm.
um, on the odds there, you kind of helped yourself out because you didn't have to go through a whole
Right,
10 program rank list issue
right.
because it's an issue. It can be an issue when you go through that rank
Mhm.
list. So
Mhm.
just walk us through how you made the differentiation between who's going to be number one and
Mhm.
number two, because I'm pretty sure both of them were probably in that top five.
Yes.
And, also was did that ranking change after your interview?
Yeah. Okay. So I would say the ranking changed after my interview for sure, because my first interview was online as well. And I was like, okay, I kind of like it. And then I went to my OU interview in person, and just seeing everything, being there in person, definitely changed my idea. And then after my actual interview, it changed my perspective. But what I honestly did is I got a sheet of paper, I wrote out the pros, I wrote out the cons, I wrote out what I liked about each one. And I really sat there and thought about it for at least a week or two. And then finally I put in, my preferences and where I want to go. But ultimately what it came down to was the experiences, was the cost of living, and then also just what I need right now at this time. That's the biggest factors that led me to one or the other. But I definitely know the ranking list can be very tricky, and it's a lot to think about because in some ways you have control over it and then some ways you don't. So I understand that.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because it can be a process that can cause a lot of stress. And for those
Mhm.
of you that are getting ready for the next cycle, if you need some help with that, when you get to that point, rank list, we've got a training for that. Check it out right here, and you can get some help with how to rank your programs, the whole technology and science on how to rank your programs. So we know that you matched, right? You
Yes.
matched. But we don't know how you rank them and whether
Mhm.
you got your number one first or you got your
Mhm.
number two first.
Oh yeah. I definitely ranked this program number one. This was my number one program.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And for those of you that fell asleep and didn't remember her number one program, where she's going to be going from Nashville next
Yeah.
is Oklahoma.
Yes.
University of, or is it Oklahoma? Yeah, Oklahoma
Yeah.
University, University of
It's
Oklahoma.
University of Oklahoma.
Right.
Yeah.
Now where? I forget where
It's in
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City. It's in
Oklahoma
Oklahoma.
City.
Mhm.
Gotcha. So OKC,
Yes.
OKC, Oklahoma City. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank
That's
thank you.
great. So you got your number one. You got your number
Mhm.
one. Um, the next thing is people want to know more than just one piece of advice. They want to hear some more than one tip because I'm sure in your process you have a lot to share and can impart some knowledge on people knowing what you know now, the things that you've done, especially from your third year into your fourth
Mhm.
year, and then your fourth year actually going through the application process. Knowing what
Mhm.
you know now, share some tips and some advice for those D3s at Meharry or any school that are
Mhm.
considering residency and getting ready to apply in this upcoming cycle.
Wow, there's so much. But I think the first thing that I would say is patience, because this is a very long process, a very stressful process, on top of you having to deal with just dental school, like in life in dental school. Your third year is also, at least here at Meharry, I know people, we take boards. So there's just a lot of things that are coming at you at one time. And you're also trying to prepare for the future. So I would say just have a lot of patience, be wise in the decisions of choosing where you are applying, because granted, process is very expensive as well. So you want to make really good decisions about that. Don't be afraid or, scared of reaching out to either the program directors or recent residents or past residents, because they are the people that will give you, I think, some of the most honest opinions and advice. I would say just reach out to them, network with them. But just honestly, during this process, take it day by day. Don't overwhelm yourself with, I'm waiting for an interview, I haven't heard back yet. Like, where you're supposed to be in terms of a residency, you will be. I truly believe that. And I'll just say, trust the process. I know sometimes it's hard to trust that process, but the process, it will work out in your favor. If not to next week, next year, it'll happen for you.
Trust the process. And for those of you that are getting ready to jump into the process, know, especially for those match programs, because not all residency programs are part of match, meaning they can accept people kind of like rolling admissions after the interview. In some programs, if they're non-match, you may get an offer right then and there, right? Or within 24 and 48 hours, and they want you to know, want to know what your answer is. But typically, for those programs that are part of match, the match is statistically, mathematically designed to favor you as a candidate, especially if you rank your programs accordingly. And based on the logarithm and how it's all designed, which I still don't, most people still don't know. And you shouldn't be focused on it. The thing that you should be focused on is the ranking and knowing where you want to go based on what's best for you. Because the best program to go to is the one that you match with, because they're going to be the one that's going to train you as a super general dentist or even as a specialist as well. So, so that's great. So those were some great tips. Patience, be intentional in your decision, reach out to residents and program directors, and trust the process. Trust the process, right? What's the best way for people to contact you if they want to talk to you a little bit more about the process?
I think the best way to contact me is through email. It's my first and last name, 1@gmail.com. So emeraldferguson1@gmail.com. There
you go, guys. That's how you speak to and reach out to student Dr. Ferguson, who will soon be still a student, but she will soon be a full-fledged board certified. Was it NERB? Taking NERBs?
Yeah.
Taking NERBs, certa. She will be Dr. Ferguson. Wow. Right. We're gonna put some respect on her name. Dr. Ferguson.
Yes, sir.
So, student Dr. Ferguson, hey, again, it's been a pleasure. It's been amazing how fast the 4 years have gone by since we first met. And very proud of you and your classmates for getting this hard work, getting this process done with dental school, but also the process of residency, and that's been very helpful. Guys, check out these videos here. Hopefully these are helpful for you too. And that's our time. Love, peace, and smiles. See you next week. See you next week on the next video.